This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 11th April 2019. The first article, Trickeries of the Money Bill. So this article is about Article 110 of the Constitution, and then we have to see the money bill and provisions of money bill vis-a-vis Rajya Sabha. What is the authority of Rajya Sabha in this case? And finally, the Finance Act 2017, how it tried to undermine the importance of Rajya Sabha by calling something substantive as a money bill under Article 110 of the Constitution. So remember, Article 110, it defines money bill. So according to this, any appropriation from Consolidated Fund of India, custody of Consolidated Fund of India, borrowing, and declaring certain expenditure as charged expenditure on consolidated fund, imposition or change of any tax, all these come under the definition of the money bill. Whenever a money bill is to be enacted, the powers of Rajya Sabha are very minimal. Why the Rajya Sabha powers are made minimal? Because to run the government of the day shall have ready access to the finances. So the greater importance was given to Lok Sabha, where the government is accountable. So whenever a bill is declared as a money bill, then automatically the Rajya Sabha powers gets curtailed. Remember, it is the authority of the speaker whenever there is a doubt to declare a bill as a money bill or not. So the speaker certifies a bill as a money bill and it cannot be questioned in any court of law. In this case, the money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. It goes to Rajya Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha it cannot be denied, or the Rajya Sabha has to give its permission. If not, it can maximum remain silent for 2 weeks, nothing more than that. So after that it goes to the President of India. Second is, there are certain bills which may have the provisions of Article 110 of the Constitution, but also has certain substantive provisions which are not dealing with the money matters. So these kind of bills will be dealt like the ordinary bills. So if Speaker certifies that bill as a money bill, obviously Rajya Sabha power is going to be curtailed. So the present government, what it did is, a bill which has got an ordinary component or a substantive component is introduced along with a money bill related component under Article 110, and it is getting certified as a money bill, and thereby undermining the authority of Rajya Sabha. Why it has to undermine the authority of Rajya Sabha? You know that the present government do not enjoy the necessary majority in Rajya Sabha. So here, let us understand what has happened in the Finance Act 2017. So the Finance Act is meant to generate the revenues for the government. It tries to create new taxes, change the existing rates of the taxes, etc. So the Finance Act is a money bill. There is no doubt about it. But normally, ordinary matters of substance are not dealt under this Finance Act. But 2017 Finance Act, it dealt with the tribunals. So appointment of the judges to the tribunals. So remember, there are many tribunals which perform the judicial functions in India. Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Green Tribunal, and then Law Appellate, National Law Appellate Tribunal, and Industrial Disputes Tribunal. Like that, there are many tribunals in the country which perform judicial functions. Let us take judiciary. How the judges are appointed. Today we have the collegium system. Why did the collegium system has come into existence? It is meant to protect the independence of judiciary. So what about the independence of the tribunals which are performing the judicial functions? If you see, a judge of a tribunal shall be equivalent to the Chief Justice of High Court according to certain laws. For example, National Green Tribunal. But the bill which is introduced through the Finance Bill of 2017, it tried to standardize the appointment procedures for all tribunals. And central government has the discretion to decide their qualifications. Central government has the discretion to decide their service conditions. and post-retirement benefits, removal of them from their offices, etc. So, an office which is performing judicial functions is subjected to the executive discretion. Is that not violation of the judicial independence? That is, what is the question which is posed over here? There is a very important question over here. So, only the formal judges who are performing the judicial functions in judiciary, they shall have the judicial independence, or any office performing the judicial functions shall have the independence. That is what is the question. And the second is, can a bill be subverted as a money bill to reduce the importance of the Rajya Sabha? So we have to see the precedent in UK. In UK, the parliamentary supremacy exists. In that case, the speaker was given this unlimited power to declare a bill as a money bill. But in India, the popular sovereignty exists, and speaker's office is also subjected to the Constitution of India. As it is, as to function within the limits of the Constitution, to protect the supremacy of the Constitution, the judiciary can apply its judicial review powers. So here the author argues that under the power of judicial review, the Supreme Court can review the power of the speaker to certify a particular bill as a money bill. Now in this context, here we need to understand the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's view. So Ambedkar has clearly stated that in India, democracy is only a top dressing, and India is inherently an undemocratic country. So we have caste hierarchies, etc. So that's why democracy is becoming a top dressing on Indian soil. This is the opinion of Ambedkar. That's why he stated that the constitution has to deal with each and every procedure in a minute detail. That's why the Indian constitution has become the bulkier in the world. After this, today we can clearly say the bulkier constitution is able to protect India from disorganization. Initially, Ivor Jennings, like political theorists, constitutional experts, criticized India's constitution for being so specific and bulkier, and they opined that it may become rigid. But in the long term, they all agreed that Indian constitution being so specific was able to be a most successful experiment in the South Asia in democracy. So these are the points we need to remember. Next is forcing China's hand. It is about Masood Azhar. You remember, India has tried to blacklist Masood Azhar as an international terrorist. And you know that UN Security Council 1267 committee, if Masood Azhar is declared as international terrorist, obviously fund flow to him and his free movement, everything gets stopped. So here, Pakistan considers him as a citizen and his citizen rights. On the other hand, China is backing that. There is a great hypocrisy to China over here. One way it is massacring the Muslims in that is Xinjiang province, that is Uyghur Muslims. On the other way, it is trying to protect the Masood Azhar, a declared international terrorist. In this case, initially France moved a resolution in UN Security Council which was opposed by China. And now USA took the chance to declare Mr. Masood Azhar as an international terrorist. What is the game plan of the United States of America? It is to expose the China's double standards on fight against terrorism. But China don't want to bend to the international pressure from United States of America. Here the author argues it from a different dimension. Previously, whenever there was rift between India and Pakistan, the international community would use to ask India to ease tensions. Now, as India has become bold, assertive, then the international community is trying to put pressure on the Pakistan. This is a changed new normal according to the article by Mr. And the next, gubernatorial impropriety. So in this article, you need to understand it this way. What is the position of the governor in our Indian constitution according to the opinion of various experts and commissions? Sarkaria Commission, what it stated is, Governor is a constitutional sentinel and a vital link between union and the state. And S.R. Bommai judgment, what the Supreme Court stated, it is office of governor shall ensure the sustenance of the constitutional process. It means ensure the constitution works effectively without any deviation in a given state. That is the responsibility. And Gandhiji has stated, governor is like an arbitrator during constitutional deadlock within a state. So, as like an arbiter, he shall have an impartial role between center state and also to do away with the constitutional crisis. B.R. Ambedkar clearly stated that the governor is not the representative of a political party within the state. Governor is the representative of the people of the state as a whole. And then Hargovind Parth versus Raghukul Tilak in this Supreme Court stated, office of governor is not an employment of the center in the state. It is an independent constitutional office. So it shall not be subordinate to the central government. So these are the important things. Then why this particular challenge is coming up? The governor is appointed by the President of India. Though he can stay in office for 5 years, he enjoys the office only during the pleasure of the President of India. And added to that, after his retirement, there are no restrictions for him to enter into politics. Many a times, the active politicians themselves were appointed as governors in between their political postings. So, maintaining the independence, impartiality of the office of the governor is very much important. In what context this article has come up? Mr. Kalyan Singh, who was the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh and now the Governor of Rajasthan, has made a statement in favor of the BJP and called for the people to vote in favor of BJP in these elections. That's why an impartial umpire has become a partial towards one of the player. And Rafael rebuff. You know that the Supreme Court did not allow for the investigation in Rafael, but however, it has changed its judgment. It is about to change its judgment. The government has argued that the evidence which is presented in the court for investigation is a stolen information. And later it changed its narrative and stated that it is the photocopy of a stolen information. Now there is a set standard by the Supreme Court in Puran Mal case. What Supreme Court stated clearly is, it is not the source of evidence that is important. It is the utility and genuineness of that particular evidence that is important for the court to it. That is, so in this context, there is all chance that the Supreme Court can get this matter inquired. And the next, Algeria after Bouteflika. So let's know the importance of Algeria first. It is the second most populated country after Egypt in Africa, and it is member of OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference, and it has substantial hydrocarbon reserves. And France and many of the countries in Europe are dependent on the energy supplies from Algeria. And if you take India, India gets its hydrocarbons and also phosphates, which are strategically important from Algeria. And second, it is an important market for Indian foodstuff, pharmaceuticals, farm machinery, motor automobiles, etc. It's our export destination. And we also had good relations with Bouteflika. So, Algeria is an important country for India in Africa. That is the carry home point. Now, the winds are changing in Africa. You know, in 1962, Algeria got independence from France. And the Les Pouvoirs, this is the power group, so which consisted of the Liberation Front and the military generals has ruled this particular country till 1980s. In 1980s, Islamic Salvation Front, it has come into existence and there was a lot of agitation, disorderliness in the country. As a way out, Mr. Bouteflika was made as the president. For almost 2 decades, he stood as the president and stability existed in Africa, in this African nation. Now, Bouteflika is resigning from the office. Then what can be the consequences of this? So the agitators want not just the Bouteflika, but all the group, inner group, the elite oligarchs to be thrown out of the government. It means the lay power is expected to be thrown out of the government. So it can disturb the stability, with Gulf countries getting interfered with Algeria, or France may get interfered with Algeria. It may lead to energy insecurity of the Europe, and there is whole lot of things on the list if Algeria goes into instability. That is what is the author's argument over here. Notes on the BJP manifesto. So here we are not much deeper discussion is not necessary, but I want to give you 2 points over here. We saw the Congress manifesto and BJP manifesto, and Congress manifesto is very much detailed. It was more and more talking about the rights perspective of the citizens, especially social and economic rights. It aims to bring in greater integration of Northeast India into India by eliminating or by critically looking into Armed Forces Special Powers Act. On the other hand, the BJP, what it is trying to talk about, it is Armed Forces Special Powers Act, it is not going to touch. And second, the National Register of the Citizens will be applied throughout India to identify the illegal immigrants into the country. The nationalistic rhetoric is very strong, and building the so-called as Ram Janma, that is Ram Temple, which is have got strong Hindutva overtones, is also stated in this particular manifesto. And by and large, we can say the BJP is trying to play its election card on strong nationalistic patriotic sentiments. Dantewada ambush. Again, the Naxal problem. Shall it be seen as police problem or a political problem? So, you remember one thing. Naxals, they are active only in central India now. And what is the reason? This is what we call it as resource curse. These are resource rich regions, and alienation from their homes, alienation from their wealth, and above all, the human rights atrocities which are being committed against the tribals over there, and livelihood insecurities. All these are becoming a ripe ground for the Naxals to make recruitments in these areas. So penetration of civic administration, addressing the basic livelihood needs, and rehabilitation and resettlement policy, well implementation of it, and above all, providing for the security, especially the food and income security to the people over here, can reduce the Naxal burden. So we shall not see the Naxalism just as a police problem. We have to see beyond that. That is the essence of this article. And then Global Financial Stability Report, which is released by IMF. Let us see this. In this, it is talking about two important things. In India, NPAs are really worrisome, and the capitalization of the banks, which was undertaken by the government, is an insufficient measure, and lack of strong financial intermediation is a worrisome for India. And the second, it has clearly stated that the global growth is expected to come down, but emerging economies, especially Indian economic growth, is expected to go up. But the real some worry is the banking sector. On the other hand, with regard to China, it stated that the portfolio investments, the share investments, are expected to increase by $150 billion for the reason that its bonds are getting traded in the international markets now. So these are the 3 points Global Stability Report talks about. So the Global Financial Stability Report clearly mentions about the India's vulnerabilities, especially in its banking sector. And finally, thank you very much. All the best. Have a good day.